is about to get underway and the grid is packed. We have Brian Trott in position 1, but John Langridge was only 1.1 of a second behind him. Now, see if I can very quickly get a hold of him. Brian, have you got a game plan? Because obviously John was only a 0.2 of it behind you yesterday.
There won't be any game plan. As per normal Mazda racing, anything can happen, so I'll just be getting it off the line as best I can, which will be better than yesterday, hopefully. And then we'll just get into the race and see how it goes. Obviously, the plan is to do roughly the same, but, you know, we'll see.
Well, the sun's on your side this time, so best of luck.
Thank you.
Right, we're going to hand it straight over to Andy to run you through all the action.
Yeah, thanks, Lyndsay. Well, we've got bright and sunny conditions greeting us here this morning for race 2A. Brian Trott on pole because he won yesterday's race. Indeed, the whole grid based on the result from yesterday. So Langridge second, then Ben Short and Joe Wiggin looking for that podium on row 2. Ollie Allwood on row 3 with Will Blackwell-Chambers, who's got some work to do, from 6th on the grid. Just outside the top 10, Adam Craig and Jason Greytrax, they should move forward. So too should Ben Hansey from 16th on the grid, got muscled out in the early stages. We've had our first B race as well since the A cars were last out, and the top 5 finishers from that race have been promoted onto the back of the A grid. So Tom Smith, Charles Mugglestone, Jack Moody, Richard Baxter and Michael Nibbs, they were the top 5 from the first B race, and they'll all be looking to build on that now and keep themselves out of the bottom 5 relegation positions in this one. So the green flag waves at the back of the grid. Brian Trott from pole position. Is he going to be able to fend them all off for another 20 minutes? Let's see. The red lights go on. They go out now. And we're racing once again in the Mazda MX-5 Championship. Race 2A here at Brands Hatch. Trott on the inside, Langridge on the outside, and Langridge is going to go through. John Langridge carries more speed off the line and gets the lead away from Brian Trott on the run into Paddock Hill Bend on board with Lewis Cannon. That's Scott Leach behind us in the blue and yellow number 13 car. I think Cannon's going to stay in front as he goes to the outside lines. Ben Short side by side with Langridge for the race lead there as the usual locking up of brakes takes place into Druids for the first time. 2 and 3 abreast, but they're all going to get through just about in one piece, I think, and they drop down the hill into Graham Hill. Ben Moore locking up there. That's Stuart Simmons getting stuck in again, and right round the outside of him goes Steve Foden. We're on board with Steve now in the number 77 car, and he gains a place, fully utilising that newly installed tarmac runoff area on the exit of Graham Hill Bend. Now it's Adam Craig in front of him as he goes down the brakes, and oh dear me, once, twice, 3 times into the back of Adam Craig's car as they all sort of run into each other as the natural concertina effect takes place at clearways. And unfortunately, I think Jason Greytrack's the big loser there. He gets muscled out of line by, is that Jake Bailey? It might be one of several red cars. Yes, it is Jake Bailey going up the inside of him. But the leaders complete the opening lap with Langridge leading the way, Ben Short in second, and Brian Trott down to 3rd. So not a great start there for the race 1 winner Brian Trott. We saw in race 1 he's capable of pulling off some really good overtaking manoeuvres. He'll have to pull a few more out of the bag in this one if he wants another race victory. Langridge leading the way, Ben Short in second. These two followed each other nose to tail for most of the second half of race 1, but it was for second place, not the race lead. So now Ben Short, who got that first, that 1 win last year at Donington Park in his 1 appearance in the championship, if he is sticking around for a full season this year, he will be looking for race wins right off the back and consistent points finishes as well, because the BS Motorsport driver is definitely a championship contender if he's here for a full season. John Langridge will also be in the championship equation, I'm sure, so Ben will want to beat him here if at all possible. Leading 5, pulling away slightly here at the end of lap number 2. And Joe Wiggin, although he's lost a position again off the start, he started 4th, he's now 5th, but he is going with the leading quartet this time around, so the podium definitely the target in this race. At the back, lots of battling going on as they stream across the line. And there is another one of the BS Motorsport cars trying to make a move, and doing so, diving up the inside at Paddock Hill Bend. That's Tom Smith, the race 1B winner, and he makes his way up another position there. That was a nice move on Charlie Rawls going into Paddock. Rawls, who started in 17th, Smith 27th, so either Smith's gained lots of positions or Rawls has lost lots of positions, or possibly a combination of the two, not too sure. Martin Tolley there finds himself in a Jake Bailey, Ben Hansey sandwich. On board with Martin now, very experienced racer in the championship, as we documented, and he's trying to get past Jake Bailey here if at all possible, whilst also trying to avoid losing a position to Ben Hansey behind. Hansey qualified fairly well for the first race of the weekend, but just really got roughed up at the start and ended up slipping down the order and never really able to regain the positions. Across the line we go. Brian Trott down to 4th place now. Look, because Will Blackwell-Chambers has gone through. So this is a bit more like it from the reigning champ, who was off the podium in the previous race, and that was a shot, I think, to all in the paddock. He's now Now right behind the leading two, who are ducking and diving there, fighting for the lead of the race. Joe Wiggin there looking to the outside. There's Ollie Allwood behind Adam Bessel, and Bessel gets on the inside of Wiggin. Wiggin ran wide there at Druids. I think he was trying to outbrake Brian Trott possibly, and ended up overdoing it and running too wide. So Bessel goes up a position, down a position goes the back attack racing car of Joe Wiggin. Ollie Allwood and Matt Luff are also part of what is essentially a lead group of 8. The leading two, Langridge and Short, have pulled away slightly here, but I don't think it's going to be long before Will Blackwell Chambers leads this next group of 6 cars back onto their tail. Joe Wiggin, meanwhile, wasting no time in getting back past Adam Bessel. Finds a way up the inside at clearways, and that could allow Ollie Allwood through as well. I think it will, because Allwood has the inside line and has the tow from Joe Wiggin. So watch the one blue and white car go past the other blue and white car fairly easily in a straight line. And Matt Luff very late on the brakes as well, and he may compound the issue here for Adam Bessel. Yes, he does. Luff goes through as well. So the 72 car that started in 8th is now into 7th place. Adam Bessel, who started 7th, is now down to 8th position, but had been running significantly higher than that a lap or so ago. Through Druids they go. They are now all together, though, this leading group of 8 cars. And Joe Wiggin finds himself once again right in the middle of it. I think he's certainly feeling that he made the right decision to move from BMW racing to Mazda MX-5 racing. As popular and enjoyable as the BMW Compact Cup is, for Joe Wiggin to be right at the sharp end in such a competitive field as this, that really does say an awful lot about Joe's calibre. Potential pace for the rest of the year. He's just run a bit wide, though, I noticed in the background, and I think that Ollie Allwood was trying to get back up the inside, and one car in the gravel in the background. Now, was that Wiggin? I couldn't quite see. No, it wasn't. It was Matt Luff, I think. So Matt Luff, it's all changed. Allwood is past Wiggin, but Matt Luff just behind them must have run wide as well. So quite a few changes towards the back end of that leading group of 8. They are all still there, that's the main thing. As they head back through Paddock Hill Bend again. Dropping down the hill, the whole field in one long line. There are the relegation drivers towards the back end of the field, all squabbling amongst themselves even, and trying to pick their way up the overall order to avoid that relegation. Front of the field, though, relegation the last thing on these drivers' minds. They are all out for the outright race victory. But of course, if one of these guys falls off the road or has a problem, then they retire. They will be on the B grid, and that will really cost them some championship points. Drop scores can sometimes be your best friend in that situation, but you can't afford to let it happen too often. As we saw from Will Blackwell Chambers, that astonishing hit rate of podiums last year, 16 podiums from 24 races. That is how you win a championship at the end of the day. And Will Blackwell Chambers on for a podium at the moment. John Langridge, your race leader, though, is really starting to feel the pressure now from Ben Short, who takes the wide line into paddock, trying to cut underneath him through the dip, can't do it, and now Blackwell Chambers is right on his case as well, with Trott and Allwood in tow. On the brakes, all of them so close to each other without ever really making contact. I'm sure there's the odd little nudge here and there, but nothing significant enough to knock another car out of the way. Beautifully clean racing as ever in the MX-5 Championship, particularly these A races. Some of the more experienced MX-5 competitors, they know all about close quarters racing. It's got to be firm, it's got to be hard racing, but it's got to be fair as well, and the majority of the time they really do respect that. Langridge will be hoping they continue to do so, because at the moment it doesn't look like Ben Short is able to find a way past him. And now Ben is having to turn his attention more to defence than attack, potentially, because Will Blackwell Chambers is certainly starting to give him some trouble. Across the line they go, single file. Does anyone duck out of line under braking at paddock? Short looks to the inside, does more than look, he really goes for it. There's almost contact, but John Langridge, by the skin of his teeth, is able to move over and hang on. That's always risky business, moving over in the braking zone. And thankfully, Ben Short, I think, lifted off slightly maybe to avoid the contact, but Short stays in second. There was some side-by-side action behind as Joe Wiggin had Adam Bessel at the inside, but that comes to nothing either. So that was the first serious attempt, though, I think, for Ben Short to get past the race leader John Langridge. It didn't work, and has he now shown his hand? Because Langridge will know that Short is good on the brakes into Paddock Hill Bend now, and that, of course, is where Langridge was beaten by Brian Trott in race 1 as well. So Langridge, I'm sure, stick resolutely to the inside line from now on at paddock. As long as he doesn't run wide on the exit, that should be a successful defensive technique. Short, though, now has Will Blackwell Chambers closer to him than he is to Langridge, so defence is now the priority on this occasion towards Paddock Hill Bend. Checking with the battles further back, Steve Foden's got Martin Tolley behind him, and Tolley has got past Jake Bailey, so Martin Tolley on the move here. He's gained 1 position since we last saw him. considered there, I think, briefly diving up the inside of Steve Foden, but discretion the better part of valour, decided not to. Carries good speed out of the corner though. Always enjoyed watching Martin Tolley. He's all arms and elbows, and he dives up the inside of Foden, just avoids contact, but then Foden gets sideways anyway. Maybe there was a nudge, I'm not too sure, but Tolley up the inside, on board with Foden now. Can he fight back at Graham Hill Bend? He's got the preferred inside line, gets to the apex first, and anything you can do, I can do better. Dives straight back up the inside, and in fact, Jake Bailey is now the man trying to get past Martin Tolley. You can see in the wing mirror there, the red and white car looking up the inside line at Surtees, and Tolley's going to turn in, and they almost made contact. In fact, I think they did, and Jake Bailey, all out of shape, did a really good job to save it, and now he's got Jason Craytrex breathing down his neck. This is the thing with this championship though, if you make a mistake or if you have a moment, then you have no time to relax and catch a breather, because immediately you've got more cars trying to take advantage of it. Back with the leaders, and John Langridge defending heavily into Paddock Hill Bend, and this is just stacking this whole lead group up, and Ben Short sees a gap on the inside at Druids, can't do it though, and so Langridge again holds on to the lead. Short, Blackwell Chambers and Trott right in tow. I think Joe Wiggin now back into 5th position ahead of Ollie Allwood, so Allwood's had a bit of a yo-yo race here, up and down, but he's down to 6th place now. We've got a distinct split between the top 4 and the next 4 cars, a split that I'm pretty sure will disappear fairly rapidly. Ben Short with a big moment there, he's got on the power out of Graham Hill Bend. You can see that gap there between 4th place Brian Trott and 5th place Joe Wiggin. We'll monitor that gap now with interest to see whether Joe could do what he did in race 1 and bridge the gap to the leading group. He did it a couple of times actually in the first race. He's already pulling away from Allwood behind, so I would suggest he probably will have the pace to do it, especially if it all starts kicking off in front of him, which it more than likely will as we go into the second half of the race. There are still plenty of opportunities here for Ben Short to get past John Langridge, for Blackwell Chambers maybe to get past Ben Short. Where did he pull that one from? A brilliant move on the brakes into Paddock, doesn't run too wide on the exit either. I don't think Ben Short thought that Blackwell Chambers was close enough there, but he was, and he's gone through. So will Blackwell Chambers into 2nd place. They've clearly made some adjustments to that car overnight. Maybe the warmer temperatures today are helping him as well, and he's now on the tail of John Langridge. So will Blackwell Chambers, a man on a mission here, wanting to undo the damage maybe done yesterday, because the 6th place finish was certainly not very well Blackwell Chambers like, and he will not want to repeat that here. He'll want a podium at the very least, but if there's a chance of a race victory, then I'm sure he's going to go for it. There certainly is a chance here. He's right on the tail of John Langridge here. If anything, looks like the quicker of the 2 here in the slipstream. Not too much pressure from behind either, so John Langridge is going to have to really defend into Paddock this time around. Blackwell Chambers in the tow, closing all the time. Across the start-finish line they go. Langridge does defend to the middle of the road, so Blackwell Chambers can't go up the inside, tries the outside line instead. They're almost touching, but again, it's just a cigarette-papered width between front and rear bumper, and they avoid any serious trading of paint. Onto the brakes again at Druids. Look at that, you couldn't get any closer without touching. This is phenomenal racing for the Mazda MX-5 Championship, and once again they prove just how it is done. Close racing, clean racing, and above all else, extremely exciting racing. Back out of Graham Hill, Wiggin is with them now, but so too is Ollie Allwood, and really kind of so is Adam Bessel, so it's only really Matt Luff that's now been dropped from this group, so 7 cars for the lead on this occasion as they head towards Clearways. Blackwell Chambers seems to be trying to set up this nice wide line into Clearways to then carry the speed along the start-finish straight, and it's working because again he's closer to Langridge than Short is to him. On board with Blackwell Chambers now as he's in the tow. Now is he close enough to attack? Probably not on this occasion, but Langridge therefore may not feel the need to defend, and he doesn't. He goes to the outside line, and Blackwell Chambers goes for it up the inside. Oh no, there's contact, and off goes John Langridge into the gravel. Oh, what a disaster for John Langridge, who had led all the way in this race, and it is all over. He's in the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend, and will Blackwell Chambers gets the lead? Now there will most definitely be a discussion about that after the race. It didn't look as though Blackwell Chambers was close enough really, but then Langridge left the door wide open, and any racing driver in their right mind would have tried to go up the inside, I'm sure. Well, they'll discuss that in the paddock after the race, but for the time being, it is Blackwell Chambers that has the lead, and Ben Short inherits 2nd place, Brian Trott in 3rd. We said that Blackwell Chambers was good off Clearways, good on the brakes into paddock, and he was just sort of, it was the perfect storm really, wasn't it? He was just far enough behind Langridge that Langridge didn't feel that he needed to defend, but he was just close enough that actually Langridge probably should have defended. There will, I presume, be yellow flags out of Paddock Hill Bend, so there's no way through for Ben Short. No, there aren't any yellow flags actually. Oh yes, there are there at the next marshal's post, so no need to defend that time around for Blackwell Chambers as they now go past the stricken car of John Langridge. Now, is that going to result in safety car, I wonder? It's right in the firing line should anyone else go off, and of course it's limiting the overtake opportunities. And yes, the safety car comes out for the first time this year in the A races. At least the safety car is out, and but what a shame that that battle had to end that way. I've literally just been saying how clean they were keeping it, and then the first real bit of contact we've seen all weekend from the A drivers, and unfortunately it puts the erstwhile race leader into the gravel trap. So, a deep breath, everyone. That was a dramatic first 2/3 of the race. Hopefully, though, it shouldn't take too long to get that car out of the gravel, so we should be able to go racing again fairly shortly. There's Adam Craig in the yellow 29 car, Stuart Simmons, the Club 100 liveried car, car number 88, just in front of him. And because of the intensity of the battling at the front of the field, we haven't really been able to focus on those two, but they will now close in as well. They're inside the top 10, so doing a solid job right now. As they come across the start-finish line, they're picked up by the safety car. Will Blackwell-Chambers, your race leader, but, well, I'll be really interested to see what decision, if any decision, is made by the clerk of the course after the race. Langridge will say that he was fired off into the gravel. Blackwell-Chambers will say, well, there was a gap and he left the door open. And it did look as though, really, Blackwell-Chambers was still going to make the corner, I think, regardless of whether he got into Langridge or not. It's not like it was a really audacious lunge by Blackwell-Chambers. He just sort of braked at the normal point, and unfortunately, Langridge turned in and they met in the middle. But there are two sides to every story, and it's not for me to judge as to who was at fault, thankfully, because that's not a discussion I'd like to have with either of those drivers. The end result is, and we can't argue with this, that Langridge is out of the race, and crucially, he will now be demoted onto the B grid for race number 3, so no chance of maximum points. That means a non-score in this race and a low score, possibly only a sort of 32nd place finish for race 3B, because what they do is they take the A result and then they tag the B result onto the back of it, and they treat it all like one race result. So the A cars make up the top 30 or so finishers, and then the B finishers tag on behind. So you score 100 points for an A victory, but you will only score about 60 odd, maybe 70 for a B victory. And that is where your championship can quickly unravel, because not only is it a lowly score for the next race, but a non-score in this one, it effectively ruins 2 of your race scores, and you can only drop, I think it's 3 results over the year. So John Langridge now on the back foot going through the rest of the season, cannot afford any more slip-ups, any more non-finishes, particularly in the first or second races of the weekend, because it then has a knock-on effect to the next one too. So Blackwell-Chambers then is your race leader. And second place now inherited by Ben Short again, having briefly went down in third. Then it's Trott in third place, fourth is Allwood, fifth for Wiggins, sixth Bessel, seventh Love, eighth Simmons, ninth Adam Craig. And Steve Foden is in the top 10 now as a result of the shenanigans ahead of him. As you can see though, the hard-working British Marshals, the volunteer Marshals, have got the car of John Langridge out of the gravel trap, and a good chance to give a shout out to the Marshals actually, who do this completely of their own accord. They don't get paid for this, the Marshals, and yeah, without them we couldn't go motor racing. So thank you to all of the hard-working motorsport marshals here in the UK and here at Brands Hatch. And the ones at Paddock Hill Bend always have a busy day. Today has been no different. The lights though are out on the safety car. We're about to be able to enjoy some more racing. It's going to be a bit of a dash to the flag here, less than 5 minutes to go in our second A race of the day, of the weekend I should say. The first one on the Saturday, the second and third ones on the Sunday. Will Blackwell-Chambers, your race leader, Ben Short second, Brian Trott third. Are they going to be the podium finishers? Well, we'll find out now in a moment or two as the race leader accelerates away, and Ben Short couldn't be any closer to Will Blackwell-Chambers on the restart. Look at that, the two of them have really gapped Brian Trott in third, who is already under pressure there from Ollie Allwood, who can't overtake him before the line, and he didn't, but now he gets the decisive push from Joe Wiggin, and will, I think, go through Paddock Hill Bend, and maybe Joe Wiggin can follow him through. Yes, he can. What about Adam Bessel? Brian Trott, our race 1 winner, is finding himself going backwards here. He's already down to 5th, finds his way back in line, though, as Matt Luff charges around the outside. So too does Steve Foden. They both have the same idea there. Everyone's going to go to the inside and get stacked up behind each other, so we'll go where they aren't and try and go around the outside of the wall. I'm not sure whether that worked for them or not. It was just in front of this man, Martin Tolley, that was all happening. Looking backwards from Martin, though, at the cars behind him, down the Cooper Straight once again. And Martin Tolley, it's a fantastic view, though, of the close proximity of the cars at very high speed through there. But Blackwell Chambers your leader then. Ben Short in second place, and Joe Wiggin going through to third now, ahead of Ollie Allwood. So Wiggin goes third. Allwood could lose another place here to a resurgent Brian Trott, who no sooner does he find himself losing places than he then is able to start getting them back again up the inside of Allwood at Paddock Hill Bend. And a lap ago, it was the other way round. Allwood was up the inside of Trott. This time around, Brian Trott has the inside line, and he's retaking the position. So Brian Trott back ahead of Allwood into fourth position, whilst to the head of the field, Ben Short is going for the race lead. Ben Short has got the race lead. Fantastic stuff. Ben Short, right from the word go on this restart, was on the tail of Will Blackwell Chambers, and he has been able to go through. Now, I don't know whether Will's got any damage from that contact with John Langridge or not, but if he has, that could explain it. If not, it could just be the fact that Ben Short is just so quick and so determined to get a race victory. So, new order then. Short leads the way. Blackwell Chambers is second. Then a gap back to Joe Wiggin, who is onto the podium now. Can he stay there? That's the question. Can he even maybe catch the leading two, or has he not got enough time left? We'll find out over the remaining few minutes. It may well be that Blackwell Chambers decides he's going to have a go at getting the lead back here from Ben Short, though. Across the start-finish line, he's in the tow. Gives Ben a bit of a nudge across the start-finish line. At Paddock Hill Bend, though, it's Short that occupies the inside ground, keeps the lead for now. Blackwell Chambers, though, with no pressure from behind, is free to take the wide line through the corner and carry speed up the hill. But rather than go to the inside, he goes straight into the back of Ben Short, not trying to push him off the road, trying to help him along. It's the bump drafting technique that is more commonly seen in NASCAR races in America, but has made its way over to British shores in the form of Mazda MX-5 racing, both in these Mark 1 cars and in the Mark 3 cars that race in the Super Cup and Super Series, where arguably the slipstream effect is even greater. It's pretty great here, though, and the racing is pretty great as well. Ben Short hanging on for now, but is Blackwell Chambers going to be content to sit in second place after the 6th place finish yesterday and the contact he had with Langridge earlier on? He may just be grateful to be in second place, really, and may decide just to take the points. Ben Short, as I said, we don't know yet whether he's back for a full season, so it may well not be that relevant here for Blackwell Chambers. We're on to the final lap of the race, though. Ben Short with a bit more of a gap now over Will than he had a lap ago. No need to defend, which means that there won't be that mega run up the hill for Blackwell Chambers, and he's going to have to spend the rest of the lap trying to get back onto his tail. Meanwhile, it's all going on for third. Look at Joe Wiggin moving over to the inside of the road, keeping Trott behind for now, but Brian Trott eager to get back on the podium. A win and a third place would be an awful lot better than a win and a fourth place for Brian Trott in the first 2 races of the year, and the idea that points mean prizes will not be lost on Brian, I'm sure. Meanwhile, at the head of the field, Blackwell Chambers having a look at the inside at Surtees. Surely not. He's going to go for it, is he? No, not quite. Ben Short was always going to turn in there, I think, regardless of what Blackwell Chambers was doing. And Will won't want to risk another bit of contact with the race leader. He's already got that slight cloud hanging over him after the contact with John Langridge, but on the run to the flag, I don't think he's going to be able to get himself alongside Ben Short, and it is going to be Ben that takes the race victory in race number 2A here at Brands Hatch. Ben Short wins, Blackwell Chambers in second, and Joe Wiggin does it. He's on the podium in only his 2nd ever appearance in the championship. A fantastic opening weekend to the season for Joe Wiggin. He is definitely going to be a championship contender before the season is out. The rest of the field streaming through behind, and Ollie Allwood, who finishes 5th in the end, he got the fastest lap in that race, so that's worth a bonus point. It's Ben Short with the victory, though. Blackwell Chambers 2nd, and Joe Wiggin on the podium in 3rd. Brian Trott is 4th, with Ollie Allwood 5th, then Adam Bessel, Stuart Simmons, Steve Foden, Adam Craig, and Martin Tolley down in 10th. Jake Bailey was 11th, ahead of Jason Graytrek, Sebastian Fisher, Scott Leach, and Ben Hansey. Now, the relegation position, there was only one non-finisher, which was John Langridge, so he will be relegated. So too will Nick Ledoyen, Michael Nibbs, Charles Mugglestone, Pete Tyler, and Richard Baxter. So Mugglestone and Baxter and Ledoyen, in fact, they were all promoted. No, Ledoyen wasn't, sorry. Mugglestone and Baxter were promoted from the previous race. They are straight back into the B race, though, for race 3 later on this afternoon. John Langridge, though, a retirement, not what he needed.
Ben, finished 2nd yesterday, come 1st today. That was a good race for you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Guys worked really hard on the car last night. We made those little changes, lost those rim protectors, which I think were slowing me down with the aero, and it just made all the difference today. So, yeah, car had really good punch, good grip. We're just going to try a little bit harder in race 3 and see if we can make it 2 for the one weekend.
Will, nice to see you back on the podium.
Nice to be back, especially if what we had yesterday. To get back up here is absolutely fantastic.
So how was that race? You and Ben seem to be working together throughout it.
We've been teammates before and we know each other quite well, so I know what he's going to do. So it's nice to have somebody you can trust and work with. John was making his life very difficult and quite divey, so he let me have a go, and sadly it ended how it did, but the gap was there when I went for it, and he shut it once I was already in the hole, so it's a shame, but it's racing.
But you're going to be starting along Ben for the next race. How do you feel?
Happy, because hopefully we can just disappear off into the distance together, because I know he's quick and he knows I'm quick, so if we can just pull away from the rest of the field, that'd be fantastic.
I look forward to seeing the bromance. Congratulations.
Cheers.
So you've stepped it up from yesterday, you're now on the podium.
Yeah, really happy with that. Car felt good. We weren't as quick to start with the race as we was last time, but just sat there, knew they'd come back to me and picked them off one by one.
So obviously you'll be starting third going into the final race of the weekend. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel really good. I'm only here for top fives because I want points in my first race, but you know, the Tucker Motorsport will give me a brilliant car and maybe we can push on for the next one.
Brilliant, well congratulations, we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Thank you very much.